They're going to make it at home. They're the ones, when you ask them for a cup of coffee, be prepared to have it about 2 or 3 hours later by the time they're done setting up their machines and all those equipment. So we've got Durban's very own Zaki Khan, who is all things coffee. And I recently found him on social media, and he goes as the Coffee Journey. And we've got an amazing setup in studio today. So we are live on Facebook. So you can find us on Radio Al Ansar's Facebook page for you to refer to your friends and family as well. And it will be saved onto our page later on for you to view. So we are going to be making some coffee in studio. But first, let's get to know the man behind the Coffee Journey, Brother Zaki Khan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me and bringing all of this excitement and energy with you, and the coffee and the biscuits and everything. Tell us what this page is about, this whole coffee journey. It's probably every coffee house that's in KZN. I've tried to count how many you've been to. I wish we could mention the names, but we can't, unfortunately. But where did it come about? Where's this whole passion for coffee, and why share about it?
So by profession, I'm a teacher, and teaching is my profession. Coffee is the journey. It started in 2016.
Right.
And I won't mention the name of the coffee shop, but I was sitting there and I ordered a lovely artisan coffee and chatting to the barista, getting to know his journey. And I took out my phone, and at that time Facebook, and I just started writing, and there was the blog.
Right.
And after that, it happened every weekend. I would go to different coffee shops and chat to the baristas, order different types of coffees, learn about them. And I must have went to, I don't know, maybe over 20 coffee shops around KZN. And if I went Cape Town or Johannesburg, tried it out. And then by 2018, I decided the journey needs to go from a connoisseur to learning how to make coffee.
Right.
So I gifted myself a course, and I went to Cape Town.
Well done.
And can I mention that place, the academy?
Yeah, sure.
That's okay. It's called the Origin Academy in Cape Town. And that was an amazing experience. There were 10 of us, and they roast coffee beans.
This is a barista course, or
proper barista course? Okay. And so if I'm learning from basically how to extract coffee, how many grams to put in, and how to steam your milk, the different types of coffee. So it was an amazing week. And the academy roasts their own coffee beans, 2 tons a month.
Wow.
And that was another experience, So, we spent the week there and drank a lot of coffee. And I promise you, as much as I like coffee, we reached a point where you want to throw up,
couldn't.
So after that, I had thoughts in my mind to do a little, how can I say, like a little business for events. And fortunately, I didn't. COVID came in, and it would have been a blunder. And the journey just continued to Instagram and talking about now me making the coffee instead of just going to the shops and learning from baristas. And I must tell you, baristas are the most humble people that are not, they're not afraid to share their recipes and their journey. And
I think they're undervalued, really.
They are.
Yeah.
And they have a tough life. But a lot of them, I've been to competitions, not taking part, but supporting them, experiencing the different tasting competitions, latte art competitions, and that also added to the journey. So now I'm at the point where I'm making my own coffees, trying some different recipes, and that's
recipes for coffee. Who would even say?
Yes.
Like, where would you even hear that? I'm one of those people that I'm so predictable, and people just roll their eyes at me. But I'm literally, I'll walk in and be like, just give me a cappuccino, a plain and simple thing. just don't ask me what all of those names mean or all of those worries of this. And then I have an uncle that we all know and love, Hafiz Rashid, and he is somebody who, when he pours tea, his hand has to be up there.
Yes, he's my inspiration as well. We both, I think, are connoisseurs, and I learned a lot from him. And my most recent one is inspired by him.
I saw
Italian dessert with the coffee. So that was
with him. It'll be extra sweet, then it's coming from him.
Yes.
And he's listening right now. We would have loved to have had him here, inshallah, in a future show for sure. It's the first time our studio has been this full. It's clearly this is what coffee does to people, and I've heard that this is why coffee shops attract people. Is that true? But because of the scent
it's the
or
energy.
something?
It's also the energy. The scent of coffee makes you. It revives you.
They say it makes you happy.
Makes you happy, right? The energy in a coffee shop is nice.
Yeah.
The buzz around. I mean, even if you're depressed, you have that cup of coffee and it'll fix you up, So coffee has various benefits, and I'll talk about later on spiritual benefits as well.
Wonderful.
And the history and where we go, and then we're going to make some coffee. And since you put me on the spot, I'm putting you on the spot, and you're going to make some coffee as well.
Hey, sure, that's going to be fun. Let me see. My cooking skills, I can do coffee. I don't know, hey. But now explain to us just how vast is it? How many types? How different are the different types of coffee?
Let's just look at the history a little bit. Everybody knows that coffee was discovered in Ethiopia, and then the legend goes that there was a farmer and his goat was eating on this plant, and he figured out that it's a legend, right? So this goat, in our teenage terms, was a real goat, right? He was greatest of all time, right? So he discovered the coffee. But in actual fact, coffee was discovered in Ethiopia, but it wasn't brewed there. It was taken to Yemen. And it was in Yemen where it was harvested, it was roasted, it was brewed. So there were two ports in Yemen at that time in the British rule. One was called Java and one was called Aden, but the proper original name was Al-Makka, which is Mocha, Java. That's where the name comes from, right? So it was the ports. And this is where the term Arabica coffee comes from. So the three types that we're looking at are Arabica, Robust, and I've come across a new one now, well, may have been there for a while, is Liberia, which is a very rare form of coffee. I haven't tried it. So the most popular is Arabica. It is very good notes, sweet notes, and the Robust is a higher content of caffeine and a little bit of a bitter taste. So most coffee shops where you would go across the world will be serving you Arabica, single origin, or blends. So the history of coffee goes right back to Yemen and the various different countries that then started doing blends. And in Africa, Kenya, you have Tanzania, you have Malawian coffee in a place called Mzuzu in Malawi. And those areas produce some very good coffee. And then if you heard of Blue Mountain, it's these coffees are at volcanic mountains at the best, most fertile soil. The good coffee is grown there. So
it's like a whole degree just to understand coffee.
And that's artisan coffee, right? So we're not talking about your instant coffees and the ones that got the chicory in it. We're talking about the genuine stuff, you know?
Right.
So coffee culture in South Africa is growing, especially in Cape Town, Johannesburg.
Yeah.
Durban, it is. Unfortunately, you see people go more for a brand name as opposed to an artisan shop which serves you the genuine coffee beans, you know?
Now, how would you know are you able to identify when you go to a place if a person's just using an average sachet or something?
If you've been doing it for a while, you would know from the taste that it is an instant coffee or it is a good roast, or is it an old coffee bean? You know, there's a time period that you roast and you use that coffee. You can't even have it immediately. You know, coffee comes in as a green bean and then it's roasted and then it is left to mature a little bit. And then you have a time period that once you open the bag, it's already, losing some of its scent, some of its full body, you know.
Fantastic. Okay, very quickly, let's just talk the Islamic significance before we shift over there and start making our coffee. I don't want to run short of time there.
Okay.
So Islamically, I know there is some sort of significance behind coffee or kahwa.
And
is this the same thing?
I'm going to look at Morocco,
right?
Senegal, right? And I just want to talk on two Sufi sheikhs and with the dua that goes with them.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
So we're going to share that dua with everybody and they should implement it for coffee. And there's a dua for coffee. And you're going to be shocked at how the dua came about.
Okay.
And then the dua for coffee and tea by another great Sufi waliullah. So, we are connected with the awliya kiram, and we find out that everything that Allah has blessed us with is somehow linked to them, and it gives us benefit spiritually, physically, emotionally, in all aspects. So coffee is blessed. So if I take Morocco,
coffee is blessed.
Yes. It is related, and I was doing a course, and I'm going to state who the teachers were.
Okay.
It's the Seeker's Guidance, right? So you're looking at the scholars, Sheikh Yahya Rodis and Sheikh Faraz Rabbani. So it's authentic, they're genuine, 100%. They know what they're talking. So it's a short course, it's free, and they mentioned this. It's related. A righteous man from Morocco used to meet the Holy Prophet ﷺ in a physical, wakeful state. Right. One day he asked the Messenger ﷺ, I drink coffee. What should I say when I drink it? So the Prophet ﷺ replied, you read this dua, Allahumma ij'alha nuram basar. Sorry, my glass. Let me just look here. Allahumma ij'alha nuran li basari wa afiyatin li badini wa shifa'in li qalbi wa dawa'i qalbi wa dawa'i likulli da'in ya qawi ya mati, and then you state Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The meaning of which is, oh Allah, make a light for my eyes, good health for my body, a cure for my heart, and medicine for all illness, oh strong, oh firm. And then you say Bismillah. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ said to him, upon saying this, the angels will continue to seek forgiveness for you as long as the flavor of coffee remains in your mouth. So that's one dua.
Subhanallah.
So it's on the Insta page, and we'll share it on your page as well if you wish.
Sure.
So that dua was from a man in a wakeful state who met the Holy Prophet ﷺ. The other one is a Senegalese waliullah that is known as I don't know how you pronounce this, but he's Sheikh Ahmad Bamba Rahmatullah Alayh. He's from the Muridiya order. They call him Sirigni Touba, right? Which means the Sheikh of Touba, or the Sufi saint who is the servant of the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So it is stated the art of drinking coffee. That's what he says, right? So one day Sirigni Touba started to prepare tea as he used to do for those who were with him. He used to prepare it for his students, not the other way around. And when he finished distributing the tea, he said to those he had served, wait until I permit you to drink. Because today I'm going to give you something that will grant you favors and virtues. From now on, before you drink your tea or coffee, do this. Before the first sip, say Bismillah maghfiratullah. Then drink the first sip. Before the second sip, say Bismillah rahmatillah. Then drink the second sip. And before the third sip, say Bismillah ridwanillah. And then drink the third sip. No matter if you are in a hurry, always drink your tea or coffee in this way before putting the cup down. And there's reference to this, So if you look at, I had put an article up about the Tunisian Sufis' art of drinking coffee. It was an article, The Nectar of Poets, the Tunisian art of drinking coffee. It's also a very interesting article on how the Mashayikh in Tunisia used to drink coffee so that they could make the ibadah, that they could sit and study. And they would have a traditional, almost like a ritual, in the manner in which they would respectfully sit and drink it.
Wow.
And then take the names of Allah when they would drink.
You never even know half of this when you think about it. But I don't want to waste any time. So can we move there now?
Okay.
And tell us what you've got in front of you, and I'll make my way there as well. You can take the headphones off. Yeah, just explain to us what you've got on the table. Thank you. Asif is going to just assist you there with the microphone there. I must welcome the entire technical crew is here today. Nizam even came in. We've got Asif, we've got Boniso. Now please explain us, and then I'll make my way to you.
We generally use the espresso machine or a bean to cup machine. So I decided to bring the simplest method and the simplest form of making coffee, which is a French press or the plunger coffee. So the French press or plunger coffee is the easiest method to make coffee. All you need is a plunger. You need boiling water, and you need your coffee grounds. Now, when you're doing a French press, you need coarse coffee, right? Now, that's also an important thing, the different textures of coffee that you use. So for a French press, it has to be almost like sea salt that you get, those Himalayan salt. The coffee must feel like that, rough. Okay. And to make this, you've got a smaller plunger there. I've got an 800 ml. You've got about a 400. That's going to make you about a 1.5 cup. This will make you about 2 or 3 cups. So firstly, people do plunging incorrectly. They do this. They plunge it up and down. So we're going to do it like a science experiment, right? And I even brought biscuits along because I don't know if you baked. So I brought some shortbread along for your coffee, right? So if we look at the two types of coffee I've chosen, one is a blend and one is 100% Arabica. And the blend is basically an intensity level 3, and the 100% Arabica is an intensity level 4. Now, just to explain you that intensity is a type of bean that you get. So you get a...
Let's do as we talk.
Okay, so this is a medium roast. Okay. So we're going to put the scale on and we're going to measure about 18 grams.
Okay.
Right? So what we want to do is get a decent 18 grams. It depends on how much you want and how strong you want your coffee. So between 16 and 18 for a plunger. How's that smell?
Can you smell
And
it?
these notes are buttered toast, cashew nuts, and the aroma is tasty.
Okay.
Right. So basically, you pop this into your 18 grams. I'm going to do the...
Pour the whole thing in?
Pour the whole thing in.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
So I'm going to do my one as well, about 18 grams.
Okay.
Clear the scale. And
Good.
this is an Italian blend, which is a stronger coffee. So the intensity is not necessarily how much of caffeine is in it. The intensity is the type of bean, how well it's been roasted. So that's a medium roast. This is a dark roast. And it will taste a little more. It says it has a cocoa taste and a smoky taste. All right. So what we do is we have tablespoons that we can use. Even the sticks are fine.
Okay, there we go.
Right. So your first step, we can use a stopwatch. So I'll use my phone. Right. So it takes about 4 minutes. This is the recipe, and you can keep this one.
Oh, thank you.
Right. So it's about 4 to 5 minutes of brewing time in those steps. Right. So you basically take your boiling water, the first step, right, and I would pour a little bit. You'll see I'll go just about till this level here. Okay. And then you can do the same just till there. And I'm going to put the lid on. I'm not going to plunge. I'm going to leave it there for about, that's enough. And then you put your lid on.
No mixing.
No mixing yet. You can if you want to.
Push the thing down?
Not yet.
Okay.
Right. So now we're going to leave it for around 40 seconds. Right. So for 40 seconds, it's a long time. Right. So we'll cut it a bit short. Right. So you leave it for about 40 seconds for it to start sitting there. It's called steeping. I think that's what it's called. Right. So you can take your stick if you want to do it and stir that, but I'm just going to leave that out for now. Must I do the 40 seconds or we just go?
Let's just go.
Right. So then we remove.
So we just for today, we have an exception.
Now, the manner in which I'm pouring, let's do it soon now, anti-clockwise. Right. So we pour it that way. Right. And then can you see the crema that's coming up? Right. So now it's blooming.
It's blooming.
Yes.
So we steep, now we're blooming.
Now we're blooming.
Okay.
Right.
All the way to the top.
All the way to the top as much as you want. And we pop our lid back on.
Okay, I'm also going anti-clockwise. Now, you don't want milk, right?
I won't have milk. I drink black coffee now, which is better.
Strong.
The benefits of it, antioxidants, it's good for you. You'll stay young and healthy.
Maybe I have to be drinking the black one.
Right. So now you would give it 4 minutes. Now, do we have 4 minutes?
No, we do not have 4 minutes,
and then it's not going to be perfect, right?
Okay.
So when you brew it for 4 minutes, right, that's when, this is the part people do wrong. They start plunging it, whacking it down. Right. You got to do it slowly where you don't create any bubbles. Okay. So if you watch how I'm doing it, I want to keep that crema up and I want to go down. Can you see that the springs are going down and the crema is staying up? And the
Ooh, right. Okay.
So now,
do we go right down?
You can go all the way down.
Okay.
And then depending on how strong you want your coffee, you can leave it there for a few more minutes.
Okay.
Right. And then you pour and enjoy. So we could leave that now.
So you would drink it just like this?
I would drink
no
it black,
sugar, nothing?
No sugar. Sugar is haram. If you drink coffee with sugar, you are killing the taste and the lovely notes in it. But a lot of people need
saying
sugar,
to the person that has 2-3 spoons of sugar.
Yeah. It's okay. If you need your sugar, go for it. If you need your milk. Now, if I was using the espresso machine, I would steam the milk, right?
I was just going to ask is what would this little fancy thing
be? These I just brought to show you. This is Turkish. It's a Turkish ibrik, right?
Okay.
So I've tried Turkish coffees. Not my favorite. It's a little acquired. It has a different taste. It's done on a stove top, right?
Okay.
And you may see on the Instagram where they also do it on hot sand in certain countries. Ooh. So as they go along, it starts heating immediately and they pour.
So if I wanted to add milk to this, do I add it at this point?
And not there, but you add it in put it in your mug or your cup, wherever you're having it, right? So I don't know if you have.
You'll pour this into a cup and then you add milk,
right?
Okay.
So in latte art, it would be different. You steam your milk and then you would pour it and you do your art. I'm not so good at latte art, but I'm more particular.
But this is the art. This is incredible.
Right.
So in closing, what would you take, because we have to go for the news now, but what would you say is the biggest mistake people make with their coffee?
The biggest mistake is sugar, right? The second mistake is instant coffee. All right, you need to move away from that. You want to taste real coffee. Then you buy the coffee. You can do this at home yourself, right?
Sure.
So you buy it ground. So if you don't have a grinder, you have it ground. You try different ones and start getting the taste. When you take your first sip, don't just gulp, right? Don't forget the dua. And then you swirl it on your upper palate. Ooh. Right? And then you get the notes. You'll taste the notes of cocoa. You'll taste the notes of chocolatey, dark chocolate notes, and also the temperature. If you're having this, it's boiled. Yes, it's like an Americano. But if you're having with milk, 60 degrees. So if your coffee comes to you in the coffee shop and it's burning your mouth, it's burnt. The milk is burnt. Give it back. So it has to be done correctly. And yeah, I think the main thing is that enjoy the coffee. Don't rush.
Enjoy the experience.
Don't rush, you know.
Jazakallah khair so much for being here and sharing all this valuable information with us. The rest of the crew is waiting for their coffee. I can already sense it. They're not moving from here. But yeah, Eric is coming in for his news and he's going to have fresh coffee after that news. Hey, Eric. So thank you so much. You can catch this live on our Radio Lanzar's Facebook page and follow Zaki Khan, The Coffee Journey on Instagram. Thank you once again for making the time to speak to us. We'll be back straight after the news.
يا حبيب الله يا رسول الله يا حبيب